Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1466. I wanted to go into Chinese numerology today just to check on the 66 because 6 and 6 mean flow, and then 1 and 4 together mean enterprise. So we're flowing with enterprise business lately. But it also happened in China to be the year of the dog. The year of the dog was, let's see, the dog symbolizes somebody who is honest, friendly, and loyal, with a strong sense of fairness, bravery, and unwavering loyalty. That we call it 忠心耿耿的, and also reliable, honest, and steadfast. That's what this says. I know a lot of people like to look at symbolism. I was born in the year of the horse. My symbol is the horse. Everybody knows that. Where's the book? Okay, so today we are in the introduction to the meditations. We're almost through with them. We're on page 41, and xlvii means 41 because the X takes away 10 from the L, because the smaller symbol to the left of the L would subtract from it, and then the smaller symbol to the right of the largest symbols would add to them. So that's 41, xlvii. The longer entries, says Marcus Aurelius, translated by Gregory Hayes, the longer entries, none of course are very long, are marked by a coherent, if sometimes slightly labored, style. Not all critics have had kind words for Marcus's expository prose, and some have been inclined to attribute perceived shortcomings to deficiencies in his Greek. But in all likelihood, the occasional awkwardness is due less to an imperfect grasp of the language than to the roughness of composition, Marcus thinking aloud or groping for an idea. The same explanation may underlie one of the most noticeable features of Marcus's prose, namely his tendency to string together pairs of near synonymous words and phrases, as if uncertain whether he has hit the target the first time. When combined with the very abstract vocabulary natural in philosophical prose, this can make for difficult reading, especially in English, which privileges concision and concrete vocabulary to a greater degree than Greek. At its best, however, Marcus's writing can be extraordinarily effective, most of all when it strikes a balance between image and idea, as in the opening of Book 5, number 23. Keep in mind how fast things pass by and are gone, that are now and those to come. Existence flows past us like a river. The what is in constant flux. The why has 1,000 variations. Nothing is stable, not even what's right here. The infinity of past and future gapes before us, a chasm whose depths we cannot see. This particular topic, the transience of human life, the constant change that shapes and informs the world, is a recurrent theme in the meditations, and as we shall see, it is one whose treatment owes as much to literary as to philosophical models, and as much to Marcus's own character as to Stoic doctrine. Now, we have already seen most of it by having read the books. Recurring themes. This is a section on recurring themes. To try to extract a sustained and coherent argument from the meditations as a whole would be an unprofitable exercise. It is simply not that kind of work. It would be equally fruitless to try to read autobiographical elements into individual entries, to take Book 9, number 42, as referring to the revolt of Avidius Cassius, for example, or Book 10, number 4, as a reflection on Commodus. What a name, right? All the more since so few of the entries can be dated with any security. This is not to say that the Meditations has no unity or no relationship to Marcus's own life, for it has both. What unifies it is the recurrence of a small number of themes that surely reflect Marcus's own preoccupations. It is the points to which Marcus returns most often that offer the best insight into his character and concerns. Now, in Turkey, in Turkey, um, there was this long row of marble toilets for all the slaves to come to all at once. It was crazy. I didn't sit on them, but a lot of people in my group did and took photos. I don't know. Anyway, back to Marcus Aurelius. One example that will strike almost any reader is the sense of mortality that pervades the work. Death is not to be feared, Marcus continually reminds himself. It is a natural process, part of the continual change that forms the world. At other points, it is the ultimate consolation. Soon you will be dead. Marcus tells himself on a number of occasions, and none of it will matter. And none of it will matter. See sections, book 4, number 6, book 7, number 22, book 8, number 2. The emphasis on the vanity and worthlessness of earthly concerns is here linked to the more general idea of transience. All things change or pass away, perish, and are forgotten. This is the burden of several of the thought exercises that Marcus sees himself to think of. The Court of Augustus, Book 8, number 31, of the Age of Vespasian or Trajan, Book 4, number 32, The Great Philosophers and Thinkers of the Past, Book 6, number 47, all now dust and ashes. Ooh. This theme is not specific to Stoicism. We meet it at every turn in ancient literature. Marcus himself quotes the famous passage in Book 6 of Homer's Iliad, in which the lives of mortals are compared to leaves that grow in the spring, flourish for a season, and then fall and die to be replaced by others. Book 10, number 34. He would have recognized the sentiment in other writers too, from the melancholy Greek lyric poet Mimnermus, who develops and expands on Homer's simile, to the Roman lawyer Servius Sulpicius, writing to his friend Cicero on the death of the latter's daughter. I want to share with you something that brought me not a little consolation, in hopes that it might have the same effect on you. On my way back from Asia, this is Asia Minor they're talking about, on the voyage from Aegina to Megara, I gazed at the lands we passed. Aegina was behind me, Megara before me, Piraeus on the starboard side, Corinth to port, towns which flourished once upon a time, and now lie fallen and in ruins before our eyes. And I said to myself, alas, and will you, Servius, not restrain your grief and recall that you were born a mortal? Believe me, the thought was no small consolation to me. That's what he wrote to Cicero. Servius Sulpicius wrote it to Cicero. This is not a point modern grief counselors would be inclined to dwell on, but it is one that Marcus would have understood perfectly, and its appeal to him casts light on both his character and his background. Marcus may have been a Stoic, but he was also a Roman, influenced not only by Zeno and Chrysippus, but by Homer and Virgil. Greeks. Virgil is nowhere mentioned in the Meditations, and in a Greek work could hardly be quoted or alluded to, but there is a note of melancholy. Virgil is Roman, sorry. There is a note of melancholy that runs through the work that one can only call Virgilian. Other concerns surface as well. A number of entries discuss methods of healing. A number of entries discuss methods of dealing with pain or bodily weakness or other sorts. When you have trouble getting out of bed, begins several entries, Book 5, number 1, Book 8, number 12. A persistent motif is the need to restrain anger and irritation with other people, to put up with their incompetence or malice, to show them the errors of their ways. Several entries focus on the frustrations of life at court, nowhere more present than when Marcus tells himself to stop complaining about them. Book 8, number 9. He contrasts the court against philosophy as a stepmother against a mother, to be visited out of duty, but not someone we can really love. Book 6, number 12. Yet, the court need not be an obstacle. It can be a challenge, even an opportunity. One can lead a good life anywhere, even at court, as Antoninus showed. Book 5, number 16, Book 1, number 16. No role is so well suited to philosophy, Marcus tells himself, as the one you happen to be in right now. Book 11, number 7. A more subtle clue to Marcus's personality is the imagery that he prefers. It is worth noting, for example, how many images of nature occur in the Meditations. Many readers have been struck by Meditations, Book 3, number 2, with its evocation of nature's inadvertence in baking bread or ripening figs, olives, and stalks of wheat. Metaphors and offhand comparisons in other entries evoke the pastoral and agricultural rhythms of the Mediterranean world, with its flocks, herds, and vines, its seasons of sowing and harvesting, its grapes drying slowly into raisins. Some of these may be stock examples, but even a stock example can be revealing. One can hardly read a page of Plato without tripping over the helmsmen, doctors, shoemakers, and other craftsmen who populated ancient Athens. Such figures are much rarer in Marcus. The image of society as a tree whose branch, he was an emperor after all, right? The image of society as a tree whose branches are individual human beings expresses an important Stoic principle, but the image is developed further than one might expect and informed by what might be personal observation. You can see the difference between the branch that's been there since the beginning, remaining on the tree and growing with it, and the one that's been cut off and grafted back. Affection for the natural world contrasts with a persistent sense of disgust and contempt for human life and other human beings, a sense that it is difficult to derive from or even reconcile with Stoicism. As P.A. Brunt puts it, reason told Marcus that the world was good beyond improvement, and yet it constantly appeared to him evil beyond remedy. The courtiers who surround him are vain and obsequious, while the people he deals with on a daily basis are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Book 2, number 1. One of the most frequently recurring points in the Meditations is the reminder that human beings are social animals, as if this was a point Marcus had a particularly hard time accepting. The gods care for mortals, he reminds himself, and you on the verge of death, you still refuse to care for them. There is a persistent strain of pessimism in the work. The things we want in life are empty, stale, and trivial. Dogs snarling at each other, quarreling, children laughing and then bursting into tears a moment later. Trust, shame, justice, truth, gone from the earth and only found in heaven. Why are you still here? Book 5, number 33. Images of dirt appear in several entries. The world around us resembles the baths, oil, sweat, dirt, grayish water, all of it disgusting. Book 8, number 24. If Marcus contemplates the stars, he does so only in order to wash off the mud of life below. Book 7, number 47. And the objective analysis Marcus's prizes often shades over into a depressing cynicism in the modern sense of the term. Disgust at what things are made of, liquid, dust, bones, filth, or marble as hardened dirt, gold and silver as residues, clothes as hair, purple dye as shellfish blood, and all the rest. Book 9, number 36. The human body itself is no more than rotting meat in a bag. Book 8, number 38. Despite your flesh, a mess of blood, pieces of bone, a woven tangle of nerves, veins, arteries. Book 2, number 2. Boy, they did anatomy back then, didn't they? Eek. Perhaps the most depressing entry in the entire work is the one in which Marcus urges himself to cultivate an indifference to music. Book 11, number 2. I want to say, this is Yin Yang speaking, that I'm hoping to give you wisdom, morsels of a thought, that the knowing of the right thing to do is called wisdom. The fortune cookie told me the doing of said thing is called virtue. And I want to inspire you to have a great day, impart a little wisdom, educate the world, and bring more virtue and entertain a little. I hope this is happening. Okay, back to the book. As one scholar has observed, reading the meditations for long periods can be conducive of melancholy, and even those who love the book cannot deny that there is something impoverishing about the view of human life it presents. Matthew Arnold, whose essay on the work reveals a deep respect and affection for Marcus, identified the central shortcoming of his philosophy as its failure to make any allowance for joy. And I think this is a fair criticism. This is Gregory Hayes, the translator, speaking. Marcus does not offer us a means of achieving happiness, but only a means of resisting pain. The Stoicism of the Meditations is fundamentally a defensive philosophy. It is noteworthy how many military images recur, from references to the soul as being posted or stationed to the famous image of the mind as an invulnerable fortress, Book 8, number 48. Such images are not unique in Marcus, but one can imagine that they might have had a special meaning for an emperor whose last years were spent in warfare and a journey far from home. Book 2, number 17. For Marcus, life was a battle, and often it must have seemed what in some sense it must always be, a losing battle. There are also a handful of points in the text where we have glimpses of a different frame of mind, most obviously when Marcus refers to the gods. From a Stoic perspective, of course, God or the gods, the terms are used interchangeably by many ancient writers, are merely conventional terms for what we might equally well call nature or the logos or providence with a capital P, or simply how things are. Marcus stresses the benevolence of this power. What is divine must be good, surely. But it is clear that he also ascribes to its actions the implacability of with which Orthodox Stoic doctrine endows it. It is not easy to see why one should pray to a power whose decisions one can hardly hope to influence, and indeed, Marcus several times seems to admit the possibility that one should not. Book 5, number 7, Book 6, number 44, Book 9, number 40. He's saying that we should not pray because we don't have influence over the gods' decisions, and so therefore we wait. In fact, this is Mary speaking. This is Yin Yang speaking. I do not pray when I can help it because I figure that God is going to give me what I need in its rightful order anyway. And praying may actually jostle that order into something that we do not speak of as wonderful. I only pray when it's really for somebody who is important to me. Back to the book. It is all the more surprising, then, to find Marcus elsewhere suggesting a more personal concern on the gods' part. The final entry of Book 1 is the most obvious example. Here, Marcus indicates that the gods have aided him quite directly through their gifts, their help, their inspiration, just as they have others. Reference Book 9, number 11. Their help is curiously concrete. Among the things for which they are thanked are remedies granted through dreams, including the one at Kaeta, Book 1, number 17, the text is uncertain. The gods also assist other people, he reminds himself, just as they do you, by signs and dreams and every other way. Book 9, number 27. That Marcus himself did believe deeply in the gods, not merely as a figure of speech, but as a real force in his own life, is suggested by his refutation of those who doubt their existence. I know the gods exist from having felt their power over and over. Book 12, number 28. How was this personal relationship with the divine to be reconciled with the impersonal logos of the Stoics? The question seems to be played out in the dialogue at Meditations, Book 9, number 40. But those things the gods left up to me, protests one voice, to which another responds, and what makes you think that the gods don't care about what's up to us? Marcus himself may not have fully recognized or acknowledged this conflict, but its existence may point to a half-conscious awareness that the answer Stoicism offered was not in every respect satisfactory. So, next time we will go into the later influence. I am reading through the introduction, which we have started and read some of before. Right now, we are on page xlvii, which is 47. So we're in page 47. Today was Motorcycle of a Thought number 1466. Okay, so next time will be 1473. And this will be, I think it's close to the end of the, end of the, yes, we will probably finish off the introduction next week, and I will go into another set of Stoics, Epictetus and or Seneca, who wrote letters, epistulae. So I've ordered the books, and the one of the books arrived, but it was terrible. It was one of those things where it was a microscopic line, every line, and I would have had to hold the book really up close to my nose to read it to you, so I couldn't use that one, and I tried to return it, and they wouldn't let me. So I have it. It's great. I have the information, but I can't read it unless I'm going to bed and looking and going, oh my God, I can't see. You know? So, anyway, I just thought I'd entertain you a little bit with a little bit of that anecdote. And we shall see you tomorrow for a rules day. I'm a rules girl at heart. Okay? Old Kinderhook. Oh my goodness. Old Kinderhook. Old Kinderhook. Come on, turn this off. Old Kinderhook.